Hi guys, Kemi Badenoch has once again demonstrated her complete lack of political skills by jumping on a bandwagon that's already overcrowded by charlatans. So the Tory leader has called for a public inquiry into the grooming gangs, but while she thinks this may help her by aligning herself to both Musk and Farage, where the former has zero understanding of the situation and the latter is clearly using the victims as a political football, Badenoch once again jumping onto something and not understanding the consequences. Have a listen to this.
2025 must be the year that victims start to get justice. And that was backed up by a letter written by the Shadow Home Secretary and Shadow Safeguarding Minister urging the Home Secretary to change course on this. Now, on the one hand, of course, this is an issue of huge national importance. Victims have been calling for this kind of inquiry for a very long time, but she really has had quite a lot of pushback on this because I think there is a bit of a sense that she's jumping on the bandwagon, even to a degree, dancing to Elon Musk and Nigel Farage's tune on this. And indeed Farage replied saying, well, talk is cheap, why didn't you do this the 14 years that you were in power? That's a response she's had from many people online. And then interestingly, this afternoon it emerged that the Tories, when they were in power, their safeguarding minister sent a practically identical letter back to Oldham Council when they previously requested a national inquiry, giving very similar reasons for rejecting it and saying a local inquiry would be better. Now, all of this is pretty unedifying, I think, for the victims who want serious answers on this, and particularly given the fact that the one public inquiry that has looked at this on a national level in some cases, the independent inquiry into child sexual abuse, made 20 recommendations more than 2 years ago, which haven't yet been implemented, though Labour say they are now working at place to do so.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so first of all, look, I'm not arguing for or against a public inquiry because one of the reasons both the Tories gave in the past and the current Labour administration is giving at the moment is that it would take resources away from reports and inquiries that have already been concluded. So you need to implement certain findings from reports and from existing inquiries, and that takes time. And if you were to start another public inquiry, you would take resources away from that. And I'm not talking about just talking about money. I'm also talking about social services and all of that. Now, the point I want to raise here, of course, is once again Kemi Badenoch not understanding that whatever she says that involves the last 14 years, it's going to be thrown back in her face by Nigel Farage. So Farage was correct here to a certain extent by saying, well, why didn't you do something over the last 14 years? Now, Kemi Badenoch doesn't have the political intelligence to not get involved, and second, not to explain why a public inquiry had not taken place over the last 14 years. Like, there may be legitimate reasons for not engaging in a public inquiry over the last 14 years. But the fact that she's jumping on this bandwagon once again shows that she has zero understanding of anything, not just politics, but anything. Keep your mouth shut. Do you not understand that everything you bring up, if it's linked to the last 14 years of Conservative power, then you're going to be criticised over it? And Nigel Farage, once again, the heckler, sitting at the back of the room saying, well, I would have done it better. I would have, engaged in a public inquiry. I would have done this X, Y, and Z. And he doesn't care about these people. He's using them as a political football. He doesn't care about anyone but himself. And Elon Musk jumping into this as well is another problem. This is a guy who has zero understanding of the situation. He was amplifying Tommy 10 names recently, and he's also asking for him to be released from prison. He's also calling for a general election. He was asking for the king to dissolve parliament. This is insane. Now, Nigel Farage is linking himself, is hooking his bandwagon to Elon Musk. We'll have to wait and see how that works out. But Kemi Badenoch, it seems, is looking at this bandwagon and saying, well, I want to be part of that as well, and actually thinks it's going to benefit her in some way. It's not. Will somebody within the Conservative Party HQ explain this to her? You're making the situation worse for yourself. Shut the F up. It will actually benefit you in the long term. Because once again, she thinks that she's jumping on a bandwagon. It's going to help her. Oh, what we're doing is we're going to put pressure on the Labour government. But all it needs is Farage to turn around with his massive platform online with the help of Elon Musk to say, well, you were in charge for 14 years, or your party were. Why are you bringing this up now? I'm the one who truly cares. You do not. You did not. Walking into these minefields. She doesn't have to do these things. She should just keep quiet. It would actually be better. If somebody were to come to her and ask her for her opinion, then she can explain why a public inquiry did not take place under the Conservatives. Then she's in control of that narrative. But instead, she seems to be just stupid because she's jumping on a bandwagon where Nigel Farage and Elon Musk have set the narrative. And then she has to come back and explain, well, why she didn't get involved before. I don't see her lasting very long. I think the Conservatives will kick her out pretty soon. And if they don't, they're going to suffer the consequences. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.